So, if you're currently just typing questions into an AI chatbot and kind of crossing your fingers, blindly hoping for a good answer, well, you're stuck at level 1. You're what we call a passive prompter. But there is this entirely different tier of capability just waiting for you. Today's explainer is basically your definitive roadmap to graduating from being that passive level 1 user into a highly advanced level 2 AI master. And to actually pull this off, we're going to have to completely rewire your mental model of how artificial intelligence processes information under the hood. It's really fascinating stuff.
Here's the quick syllabus for today's explainer. First up, inside the AI brain. Next, AI memory and creativity. Third, the AI hallucination problem. Fourth, giving AI an open book. And finally, upgrading to AI agents.
Okay, let's dive right into this first one. Inside the AI brain, the language of machines.
To really master AI, you have to understand the true language of machines. We need to look at how an artificial intelligence actually reads the text that you give it, and honestly, we need to shatter a massive illusion right out of the gate. AI absolutely does not read human English. It reads tokens. Tokens are the fundamental building blocks of language for a machine. See, when you type a sentence, that text is immediately chopped up into little pieces and converted into mathematical numbers. So if you want to be a true power user, you need to memorize this mantra. Repeat it to yourself. AI is just a next token prediction engine. That's all it is. It's a mathematical engine continuously predicting the next most likely number in a sequence.
Let's actually compare human reading to AI reading, because it's pretty wild. To us, the word hamburger is just one unified concept, right? A single word. But to the AI, it gets chopped up into 3 distinct mathematical tokens: ham plus berg plus Now, short, common words like cat or the might just be a single token, but complex words get completely chopped up into syllables. The AI essentially builds this massive mathematical dictionary out of all these little fragments.
Now, thinking about that, it raises a really obvious but completely fascinating question. If the AI is literally only seeing these chopped up mathematical numbers, how on earth does it actually understand human meaning? How does it connect ideas together?
Well, the answer is a brilliant concept called embeddings. The best way to think of embeddings is like precise GPS coordinates for concepts, all mapped out inside this massive, multidimensional mathematical space. Words with similar underlying meanings are assigned coordinates that physically place them close together on this virtual map. So the words puppy and dog share almost identical coordinates because their fundamental traits, organic, fluffy, domestic, are mathematically the same. The AI realizes they mean the same thing not because of how they're spelled, but because they live in the exact same neighborhood in this mathematical space. Meanwhile, a completely unrelated word like car gets a drastically different mathematical pattern and is parked far, far away.
Which brings us to Section 2, AI memory and creativity, tuning the dials.
So now that we know AI operates purely on math and tokens, we're going to look at the internal dashboard dials we can tweak to completely change how the AI behaves. And the absolute most critical dial here is the context window. This defines the exact amount of tokens an AI can hold in its short-term working memory at any given moment. Honestly, you can visualize this perfectly as a conveyor belt with a strict non-negotiable capacity. As you feed the AI a massive document, new tokens roll onto the belt. But once capacity is reached, boom, older information literally falls off the back of the conveyor belt and completely ceases to exist in the AI's mind.
Let's look at why understanding this is so absolutely vital. Imagine you upload this huge 100-page document, and hidden way back on page 1 is the secret instruction. The password is pineapple. If you're using a model with a narrow context window, by the time it reads your question at the very end of the document, page 1 has already fallen off the conveyor belt. It's gone. The AI is just going to tell you, I do not know the password. But if you slide that context window dial wider to encompass the entire document, it retains that memory and accurately outputs the password is pineapple. Knowing your model's limits literally changes everything about the output you get.
Okay, our second dial is temperature, and this is literally the AI's creativity control. Let's say we prompt the AI to finish this sentence. For breakfast, I usually eat a bowl of, at a strict low temperature setting of 0, the AI heavily favors the most statistically logical token. It chooses cereal with 100% certainty. Makes sense. But if we crank that temperature dial all the way up to a high 1.5, we flatten out those odds. Suddenly, cereal drops to a 70% probability, and wild, chaotic choices enter the mix. A strange token like rock suddenly gets a 5.7% chance to be chosen. So, this dial shifts your output from strict, boring facts to highly creative and sometimes totally nonsensical choices.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it leads us directly into Section 3, the AI hallucination problem. confident fiction. That exact same temperature and creativity mechanism we just talked about, it leads straight into one of the biggest, most talked about issues in tech today. Just listen to this hallucination generated by an AI when we asked it about a completely fake historical event. It says, the 1892 Moon War was a brief but intense conflict between the Lunar Mining Consortium and Earth Federation. And I kid you not, it goes on to confidently list out fake treaties and key battles. None of this happened. But here's the real danger. Generative AI models are trained to be uniquely helpful and articulate. So when the AI lacks actual facts, its highly authoritative tone will confidently serve you absolute 100% fiction.
So the crucial takeaway here is understanding the mechanical reasons behind why these hallucinations happen in the first place. You have to remember, AI is not a database of facts. It isn't looking up stored records like Wikipedia. It is just guessing the next plausible token. If you combine high temperature settings, which force risky mathematical guesses, with a lack of ground truth in that context window we talked about, well, the AI has no choice. It just statistically guesses words that sound good together. Hallucinating isn't some weird software bug. It is the exact same underlying mechanism as creativity.
Which perfectly sets up Section 4, giving AI an open book, fixing hallucinations.
Obviously, if you're in a professional enterprise setting, you literally cannot have your AI inventing historical moon wars or fabricating legal precedents. You need absolute accuracy, right? Well, the corporate solution for fixing this is a process called RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Basically, RAG is a system that searches through your external, private documents and secretly pastes the most relevant facts directly into the AI's prompt right before it answers you. It's the ultimate tool to ground the AI's knowledge. Think about it. If you ask a standard AI about your company's highly private Project Orient, it's just going to guess. But a RAG system, it retrieves your specific Project Orient PDF, pastes those rules into the context window, and safely outputs a perfectly accurate, grounded answer.
To really appreciate the difference, let's compare these two approaches. Using standard AI is essentially like forcing the model to take a closed-book test. It's sweating, having to rely purely on its frozen past training data, just crossing its fingers and trying to recall facts from months ago. Conversely, a RAG AI system is taking an open-book test. You are allowing it to actively read your specific uploaded PDFs or spreadsheets in real time to find the exact correct answer. It gives the AI the undeniable open-book advantage that it absolutely needs for flawless enterprise accuracy.
All right, we made it to the final section. Section 5, Upgrading to AI Agents, the Level 2 Master.
We have built up your knowledge from mathematical tokens to context limits to preventing those crazy hallucinations with grounded data. Now we're going to use all of that to unlock your true power user status. See, a standard level 1 chatbot requires you to constantly copy, paste, and micromanage every single action. It's exhausting. An AI agent, however, is like having an automated digital intern that actively executes tasks across your software. Here's how the workflow looks. Step 1, you give the AI a high-level goal, like book the cheapest flight to Tokyo for next Friday. Step 2, the agent independently reasons and breaks that big goal down into smaller subtasks. And step 3, the agent automatically calls external tools. It opens a web browser, scans for prices, books the flight, and then seamlessly adds the event to your digital calendar. It doesn't just chat with you, it actually does the work.
So we've journeyed all the way from understanding how AI breaks language down into pure mathematical numbers, to deploying autonomous systems that literally navigate the web for you. You now have the actual mental models required to master these tools. So I want to leave you with one final, provocative question to think about after this explainer wraps up. Are you ready to stop passively chatting with AI and start actively delegating to it? Because it is officially time to claim your Level 2 mastery.